Hello everyone and welcome back. Well, I got a pretty great replay for you here because my friend JH is going to take out a missile camper, and a lot of people have asked me how you fight somebody who brings a lot of missile troops and puts himself in what seems to be a strong position. And this video does a pretty good job of illustrating how. JH does a good job here. So I'll start by JH's force. It's his typical Naginata corps. He has 5 veteran Naginata samurai, 2 Yari cavalry, 3 bow Ashigaru, and a matchlock Ashigaru. Now over here on the other side, I'll wait a minute so they can all be revealed. But you will know that this guy is a camper just by looking at his force, and I'll tell you why. Alright, here we go. He has 6 bow samurai, making up his ranged corps. But then look at his infantry. Just Yari samurai. That's it, no variation, and no cavalry. If somebody brings all spears, you know they're going to camp, because they obviously bought into a cliche that spears equal the defensive unit, and they do not. That's not how it worked. Maybe in Roman times that was the case, but this is Sengoku Japan, and that's not how it works anymore. Swords will destroy spears. In fact, anything will destroy spears. Even Lone Sword Ashigaru can beat Yari Samurai. So your infantry is very weak if you do this, and you know it's going to be a camper, because they're just going to buy into cliches like that. They're going to think spears are defensive, I'm going to be defensive, I'm going to camp. And that's a really, really bad cliche, and that never works. So, and not only that, he doesn't have any cavalry to deal with the threat to his missile corps. I mean, he has no way to protect his missile corps if his cavalry can get around the spears, but I'll get to all that later. The other cliche he buys into is defense equals advantage. And that's going to be really bad for him, because you see where he's moving in this direction. Guess where he's going to go? That's right here on this ridge. And it looks like such a strong position. But I can never emphasize enough that so many places in this game seem like such strong defensive positions, but they're not. And this is going to be a horrible position for him to be. In fact, it might be one of the worst places on the map for him to be, because the only thing he has is a ranged advantage. And it seems like such a nice position, but look at all these trees. By the time that JH's units clear the forest, how much time do you think the enemy's bows are going to have to get any good volleys into him? Maybe 1 or 2? And that's assuming his cavalry doesn't come around and just smash into the bows. And JH could just send a sacrificial unit to take all the arrows, and hopefully the other guy won't be individually ordering his bows, and just take them all, and pretty much neutralize the missile advantage. Missiles they really don't win a battle on their own. They're probably the weakest out of the 3 areas. Even if you have a missile corps, they can't win alone, so you can't just depend on missiles to win a battle. You have to have that infantry support, you have to have that cavalry support. No corps can stand alone. So let's look at what JH is doing. He's perfectly set up for this battle. He has Naginata Samurai. They're probably the best infantry for absorbing arrows in terms of taking the least amount of damage, because they have really high armor, and they can just eat arrows, so he has a perfect army to take on the other guys. So he's going to do the obvious and capture these capturable buildings. Why not? The other guy's going to go camp on that ridge. No reason not to. So JH has a couple options here on this attack. He could basically, he doesn't even need to really screen the infantry, because he has this tree cover to advance from. And he has Naginatas, which aren't going to take hardly any damage at all. My only complaint with this attack was he was a little slow on his cavalry attack. And he split his forces up and attacked both sides of the ridge, which he didn't really need to do. I think he could have gone up one and able to hold down the other guy's Yari Samurai a lot better. For his cavalry to hit the missile units, but he still does a really great job. Those are just minor complaints. More like suggestions, alternate options, because what he did was perfectly fine and emulatable. So, I'll speed it up. But look how so many people play. They just bring the spears, they think, spears equals defensive, I'm going to camp, camping equals advantage, and it does not. I've illustrated countless times how camping is not equal an advantage. The attacker oftentimes has an advantage, and JH does have an advantage in this battle. He has an infantry advantage, big time, because Yari Samurai just cannot fight other infantry, except maybe Yari Ashigaru and other Yari Samurai. And also, his bows aren't going to do very much damage at all to the Naginata Samurai. And not having any cavalry at all, he's not going to be able to block any charges. So all he has to do is hold down the Yari Samurai and come around with his cavalry and hit either his general or the bows, or both. He's got 2 units, why not? So JH has pretty much won the battle at this point. I'm not going to lie, I'd be surprised if he lost this battle. There's just no way. All he has to do is tie down the infantry, and the cavalry can just manhandle the rest of his army. I mean, no chance. So here we go. He's putting the Yaris on both wings, setting up his bows. Nice little defensive position, but this is such a weak position. It really is. Because the forest cover, you're going to see how few casualties he takes. I'll be sure to point it out. So I'm just quadruple speeding it because not much to talk about when he's just advancing. But he's got his cavalry in hiding over here in a good position, just far enough away so they don't seem like a huge threat. But they will be once he ties down the infantry. So here come the Naginata Samurai. He's going to split them up and he's going to send 2 up this way. And you'll see the 2 Naginata Samurai end up beating these 3 Yari Samurai. It's just, I mean, why would you just bring Yari Samurai unless you just really don't understand the game? And you depend on cliches. And that's the last thing you want to do in a total war game. So here we go. He's now moving up on the infantry advance. Now, what I would have done, it didn't end up mattering, so it's not a huge deal, but I would have sent the Bow Ashigaru first to get the attention of the Bow Samurai, and then the instant the Bow Samurai starts shooting the Bow Ashigaru, rush up with the Naginata Samurai. But he ends up just walking up with the Naginatas first, which still isn't bad, because Naginatas can take the arrows just fine. You'll see how little damage they do. In a moment, I'll put it back to quadruple speed. So the cavalry is moving up too. They're getting in position. What's going on over here? We got bows and matchlocks moving up too, so they'll have a nice even field of fire to fire over. Nodachis are moving up too. Here come his bows. It's good to be very careful. If you have a camper, you have plenty of time to set up your attack, so don't rush into it. Which is what he's doing. He's being nice and careful, and it's good. So here we go. There's the first volley. And we'll see how many it kills. The Bow Samurai are now shooting at the Naginatas. Killed nobody in that volley. Here comes the second volley. No deaths. 0 deaths in those 2 volleys. And there are two Bow Ashigaru. There we go. Killed 6 people in that volley. Whoop-de-doo. And there's another 2 dead. 2. That's it. This Naginata Samurai has lost 9 men so far. That's it. That forest and the Naginata armor is just gonna just knock away those arrows, no problem. Look, the battle lines have now met, and this Naginata Samurai, which has been taking almost all the arrow fire, has only lost 20 men. That is it. So the camper put himself in a really bad position. So now 2 of his Yari Samurai are held up. Now I would have sent my cavalry in at this point, which he does. They were a little far away, and so they're a little late to the party, but still not too late. They're still very relevant. He has plenty of time, really. And look at these Yaris getting ripped up. They're down to 60 men already, just getting torn apart by those Naginatas. This one's down 30. And we'll look over here, and this Yari is already down to like 100. This one's down to 87, 114. So the Naginatas are just tearing into the Yari. Really, that's like one of the worst cliches. Spears equal defensive unit. Like, you think, I'm going to defend, I'm going to bring all spears. That's a terrible idea, because they're going to get torn up by infantry. Just obliterated. Look, there goes that Yari Samurai, gone. And now, with his infantry tied down, the cavalry's going to have an easy job just walking in and just tearing apart the missile units. So now 3 of them are not firing anymore. Only half his bows are actually firing and being useful. And the Naginata is just going to keep rolling and hit the missile units too. So now he only has 1 Yari Samurai to deal with 2 cavalry, so he's easily able to just flank around him, no problem. They're just going to run right to the general. Good move. These 2 Naginata Samurai just being a diversion, tanking those 3 Yari Samurai, no problem. He'll be moving up these Naginata Samurai shortly. And doing good here. He's winning this battle. The general's being rushed. The camper does not move them. Boy, that's serious dedication to camping, not even moving your general when he's getting attacked. Gotta give him that. That's dedication. So the bows are also shooting. Not like they'll do much out of the forest, but hey, why not? And here we go. We already got some wavering. The general is dead. And this battle is over. We got wavering all over now. Bow camper has no chance. No chance. So this is another one of those battles about deceptively weak positions. This is probably the worst spot to put yourself if you're going to bow camp. And if you're going to camp, do it right at least. Don't just bring spears, because they're just going to get crushed. No chance. Spears are probably the one unit type that you can't make a core out of. And you can't just depend on, because they're so niche. They can only kill the cavalry, really. You just really can't bring only spears. That's the only unit I can think of that you can't really make a core out of. It's just, you can't do it. They have too many weaknesses. Infantry will just tear them up. Unless you get lucky and the other guy brings like all cavalry, you're basically screwed, which was this guy was. No way to deal with any infantry. I mean, any kind of infantry will beat Yari Samurai except other Yari units. Even lone swords can beat Yari Samurai. It's just, I mean, look at this position. It looks so strong, but it's not. And you got to think deeper. You got to get out of the cliches. And I see so many people just bring spears. Like, that's a really, really wrong cliche. Like, it doesn't get any worse than that. Obviously, you don't know much about the game if all you're bringing is Yari Samurai. So this bow camper is just going to get annihilated. And rightly so with what he brought, where he put himself. Don't depend on cliches. You got to think outside the box and win battles on your own. So thanks for watching, everybody.